Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how to concentrate. How to concentrate. Yes, there is actually a process to doing that. And I'm going to explain what that is and why that is, and we're actually going to talk about how to do it. We're actually going to make this into a two-part series because we're going to talk about it in one way today, another way tomorrow. I'll explain that in a second. But first of all, let me tell everybody I have a daily motivation text message that I send out free of charge to everyone who's in my text community. This is a message that's guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point. If that sounds like your cup of coffee, all you need to do is text me at my number, which is 305-384-6894. And every day when I send out the daily motivation text, because you are in my text community, you'll be receiving that daily motivation text straight to your phone free of charge. And the other thing I'll tell you is that at workonyourgame.net, you can access to my free training. 45-minute training, 5 keys that you can use to increase your income in your business now, how to do it systematically and strategically. That means I'm not going to tell you you need to work harder or be more motivated or get more disciplined or get better at being consistent. Even though those may be elements of it, I'm going to tell you how to do it in a systematic, strategic way. If that sounds like you, go to workonyourgame.net. The training is completely free, and at the end of that training, I'll even tell you how you can schedule a time to hop on a call with me, and we can talk about implementing that stuff into your business directly. Now, let's get into the topic here today, which is how to concentrate. And today, we're going to talk about, first of all, let me get a definition of this word, concentration. Definition of concentration means to focus one's attention or mental effort on a particular object or activity. Now, since we have talked about focus and the power of focus so often, we're going to talk about concentration. And as you see, the first word in the definition of concentration is focus. Focusing one's attention or mental effort. And I want to talk about what I told you about focus back in episode 1193, which is focus is the force multiplier. We talked about focus a lot of times. I got so many episodes of the show, more than 20 of them, where I've talked about, just put the word focus even in the title of the episode. Today we're going to talk how to concentrate, and again, we're going to make this into a two-part series where today we're going to talk about this on a high level because I want to talk about concentration on a strategic, big picture level, and then tomorrow we're going to talk about concentration on a specific tactical level. Okay, so today we're going to talk about it on a high level. Why concentration matters so much and how you can start implementing concentration into your life. So today, really, we're going to talk about the being aspect of strategy. And then tomorrow, concentration, well, strategic approach, but the being aspect of concentration. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about the doing aspect of concentration. So without further ado, let's get into it. Point number one, today's topic, once again, is how to concentrate. And we're talking about it strategically here today. Number one, let's first understand the value of concentration, because before I tell you how to do something, first of all, you need to understand why should you even want to do this, because if you don't want to concentrate, then it doesn't matter how to do it, right? So let's talk about why you should even want to. Concentration is one of the first things that I instill in anyone who works with me. If you come into Work on Your Game University, you come into one of my coaching programs, whether you're working in my group programs, if you ever worked with me one-on-one, anything like that, one of the first things that I teach when you come in is concentration. We start with concentration because, as I already told you in episode 1193, focus is a force multiplier. The longer you can, and what concentration is, it's kind of like a combination of two of our 5 forms of investment, which are attention and focus. So they're like sub-investments that go into each one. So when you take all these investments, time, money, attention, energy, and focus, there are sub-concepts that go underneath each one of those. Concentration is like a sub-concept of both attention and focus together. Okay? So the longer you can maintain focus on one specific thing, usually the better you get at that specific thing, and the more you get out of that specific thing. If you focus on anything, usually you get more of that thing, and it will give you more of whatever you're focusing on. It doesn't have to be something that you want. So if you focus on your lack of something, you focus on not having something, then usually you will get more feelings of not having it and more reality of not having that thing. If you focus on things that you do have, or that you want to get more of, but you focus on like actually acquiring more of those things, usually you end up acquiring more of them. Why? Because you're concentrating on them, you're focusing on them, you're giving your attention to them. When you put attention and focus on something, you concentrate on it, usually you end up getting more of it, regardless of what it is. Remember that this law works it works impartially, meaning it won't say, all right, hey, you're concentrating on something that is positive for your life, so we're going to double your efforts and give you 10 times what you're putting in. No, it's going to give you exactly what you put in. And it also, on the other hand, does not say, hey, you're concentrating on something that you probably don't want more of, so I'm going to ignore your concentration and not give you more of that thing. Doesn't work that way either. Whatever you concentrate on, you will get more of. Doesn't matter whether it's good, bad, whether it hurts you, harms you, keeps you neutral, makes you better, makes you worse. You get more of anything that you are giving your concentration to. So you need to accept and appreciate the value of focusing on one thing while excluding all the other things. That's what concentration is. Focusing on one thing while excluding all the other things. Both parts of this phrase matter. So yes, focus, because if you really look at it, if you really break it down logically, if you're focusing on one thing, then you're already by definition excluding everything else. When you focus on something, that means you're not paying attention to other stuff. That's pretty much how it works. But some people don't seem to understand this. Some people will say, hey, I need to focus more on this, but then in the next statement, they're talking about the 4 or 5 or the 7 other things they also want to be doing. That's scientifically impossible. So when you're focusing on something, you're not paying attention to anything else. This is an extremely simple concept, but it's harder and harder for many people to execute on, for one simple reason, is because we have more options to distract us every day than we had the day before. Every day there are more ways that we can distract ourselves than there was a week ago. So this is a skill. It's becoming more and more of a skill, and a more valuable skill as time goes on, because it is harder and harder for people to just focus on one thing at a time. And this is the reason why many people don't attain the success that they could attain, or they only attain half of the success they could attain, simply because they never buckle down and put all of their focus, all of their concentration on one specific area of achievement. You're trying to do too many things at the same time. I was talking to a business partner of mine the other day, as a matter of fact, and he was giving me this idea of this thing that I could do. And it's actually a good idea. It's something that I actually would do, and maybe in the future I will do. But as I thought about it, he dropped this idea. I'm recording this, the day I'm recording this, he dropped this idea to me probably about 2 days ago. And he was telling me how easy it would be, not necessarily easy, but how simple it is. I could execute on this. You could do this, and then this, and then this. And he was trying to make it sound very simple for how I could do it. And it sounds like a very good idea. But the thing is, if I was to start doing that, then what I would be doing is diverting my focus. I'd be splitting my focus amongst multiple things. And what I just said to you was that if you're splitting your focus amongst multiple things, then you're not going to get the full outcome out of anything that you're doing. So that thing that he was telling me about that was a good idea, I will keep it in mind and I'll take notes on it, but it's not going to happen right now. It's not going to get executed on or even paid attention to until I get done doing the things that I'm doing right now. When those things get done, then I can go into the next thing, then I can go into the next thing, then I can go into the next thing. When we try to do more than one thing at a time, then that's when we don't get the full outcome out of anything that we do. And it doesn't mean you can't do it. The thing is, you're just not going to get your best outcome out of it. All right, so if you're okay with getting 80% of your potential out of something, then go ahead, divide your attention amongst multiple things. You're okay with getting 50% or 32%, then go ahead and divide your attention. But if you want to get 100% of your potential out of something, you want to squeeze all the juice out of an orange, then you got to focus completely on the thing that you are doing. Think about the highest level performers that you know of, or the highest level performers that you know. You'll notice that they usually focus on one thing at a time. Doesn't mean they don't have multiple accomplishments, but they focus on one thing at a time. So they get done one thing, then they move on to the next thing. They're not trying to do 3 things at the same time, because again, that's humanly impossible. And if you are dividing your attention amongst 3 things, which is possible, the thing is, you're not going to be at your best at any one of them. So if you're okay with all of them being about 70%, then I'm okay with it too. This is up to you. I'm just laying out the options that you have, and you can choose what to do with it. When I ask people what are their biggest challenges these days, usually people mention these days, when I ask people what are their biggest challenges, usually they mention one or two things as their biggest challenges. But if I also ask those same people, when's the last time they spent an entire day just focused on addressing those one or two things that they say are their biggest challenge, they usually don't have an answer. Because what happens is we spend our days doing 10 and 20 different things, splitting up our time and attention. And then when we assess but then at the same time, we have assessed our own issues as only being one or two things. Now ask somebody, what's your biggest challenge? They mentioned one thing or two things, but then during the day you're doing 20 things. So think about that. Now the common answer to what I just said is some people may say, well, yeah, Dre, I mean, technically what you're saying is correct, but it's not that simple that I can just focus on one or two things. I got 20 things on my list. I got these 30 things that I need to juggle. Well, it may not be that easy. You may be right. It's not that easy, but it is that simple. There's a difference between being simple and being easy. Easy means, can you actually do this thing this way right now? Maybe not. But is it that simple? Yes, it is. So there's a difference between simple and easy. So I want you to understand that if you say your biggest challenge is one or two things, but you're not putting your concentration, your focus on those one or two areas that are your biggest challenge, well, they're going to continue to be challenges. And you'll continue to have the same problem until you put your most valuable resources, time, money, attention, energy, focus, into those things. They're going to keep being problems. Point number 2. Today's topic, again, is how to concentrate. We're talking about on a strategic level. Number 2, many people talk about balance and that they want to have a balanced life. Or somebody may even say to me, Dre, my biggest challenge is I want to achieve balance in my life. People want to have balanced lives, and you basically want to do similar amounts of many different things. Here's what I'll say to that. I'm not even saying that you're wrong to want this, but what I will say is that this is the right answer to the wrong question. If you are serious about success, this is the right answer to the wrong question. The most successful people who you can name are completely out of balance in that they focus exclusively on their purpose for extended periods of time. And when I say extended periods of time, I mean on a day basis, like over the course of a day, and also over the course of a lifetime. They focus exclusively on whatever their purpose is, and they're out of balance because they're focused so much on the purpose that they can't give it the same amount of focus to anything else. So do you think Steve Jobs was balanced? Was Michael Jordan, during his basketball days, was he balanced? Think of the 3 most successful people who you know personally. Are they completely balanced in their lives? Unless you consider balance to be the outcome of success, then usually your answer is no. Think of the 3 most successful professionally successful people who you know. Are they completely balanced? Probably not. Because to be as successful as they are, they have to be out of balance and put more focus and concentration on their professional lives than they do other parts of their lives. They have to be out of balance. That's the only way they can be good. The most successful people you know, are they giving equal amounts of time, money, attention, energy, and focus to everything that they do? Probably not. And that's part of the reason why they are successful. Because they focus exclusively on a few things that create the outcomes that allow you to see them as successful. Let me say that sentence again. They focus exclusively on a few things that create the outcomes that allow you to see them as successful. So what would you like to achieve in your life that you are willing to give unequal amounts of your resources to in order to achieve in that area? Where are you willing to be out of balance in order to get the outcomes that you want? There's no right or wrong answer to this, but there needs to be an answer to it. The answer is nowhere, that you just want to be completely balanced and you're not trying to go out of balance for any one particular area of life. That's fine too. the whole point is you need to know the answer to this question. So is it your family? Is it your business? Is it your money? Is it your health? If you have never answered this question, then you don't even know what to concentrate on, even if you accept everything that we've talked about when it comes to concentration that we've said here today. If I told you, if you just accept everything here, but you don't know where you want to focus or where you want to put your concentration, or if and where you would want to be out of balance, then what can you do with anything we talked about so far? So you need to answer this question. Where does that out of balance place? Where is it okay for you to be out of balance and just give way more to this one area than anywhere else? Keeping in mind that focus is a force multiplier. So if you choose an area to focus on, you'll probably be a lot better in that area. So where is that for you? If anywhere. The answer is nowhere. Say nowhere. And you just want to be equal across the board at everything? Okay, then that's fine. Thing is, you will be pretty much close to average at everything. If you're okay with that, then I'm okay with it too. I'm just making sure you understand what choice you're making. Point number 3. Topic today, once again, is how to concentrate. We're talking about it on a strategic, big picture level. Number 3, the opportunity is always in the opposites. I discussed this in episode 1025. The opportunity is always in the opposites. So look around in your life and ask yourself, what state, what mental state do you see most people in today? Next time you get on an elevator or you're on public transportation and you look around at the people, or you're at work and you look around at the people, or you're out in the streets and you look around at other people around, what state is everybody in? Everybody's in a state of distraction. That's the state that everybody's in right now. Everybody's distracted. The reason why everybody is distracted is because we all have access to more and more ways through which we can distract ourselves and divide our concentration. When you're distracted, your concentration is divided amongst multiple things. You're distracted. So being on track means you know where you're going and you have a destination and you're clearly headed towards it. Distracted means you're off track. And you're dividing your concentration, you're dividing your focus and your attention. And people are doing this more than ever these days, because again, every day there's another way that you can distract yourself. And most people, take advantage of this opportunity to distract themselves, or they have it imposed on them to distract themselves. More accurately, it's being imposed on you. So every advertisement you scroll past is an option to, let's say, a chance somebody is taking, they may be able to distract you and get you to follow their program, which is read their website or watch their video, rather than follow your program, which is doing what you were supposed to be doing when you picked up your phone. You can't remember what you picked up your phone to do. Now you're distracted. Has any of you ever had that happen? So the opportunity is in doing the opposite of that. Do the opposite of what you see everybody else doing. If everybody else is distracted, you need to come up with a plan and a process for not being distracted. The opportunity in life is in being the person who can avoid and ignore all the options to be distracted and instead choose to be focused. Focus is a choice. It's not something that happens to you. It's something that you can choose to be, but it has to be a choice, because when you focus, you are consciously and deliberately excluding everything other than the subject of your focus. So tomorrow we're going to talk specifically about how you do this. What are some ways that you can actually increase your level of concentration in life regardless of what you do? And what you need to do today is accept these ideas as a foundation upon which tactics can be built. And tomorrow we're going to talk about what the tactics are. But today you got to start with the foundation. When you understand the strategy of something, then it's easy to put the tactics underneath it. And that's why today we talked about the strategy. So you understand what concentration is, why it exists, what it can do for you, and how you can implement this into your being. So then tomorrow we can talk about the doing of the strategies that go with concentration. So today, accept this as the foundation. Tomorrow we get into the tactical, because if you don't accept the strategies, then the tactics won't do anything for you anyway. And this is where a lot of people get derailed just in life when it comes to creating success, is that they go and see the tactics that other people have implemented or have been prescribed to you, and you try to use them, but because you don't understand the underlying strategies, the tactics don't work. So make sure you are not making this mistake and make sure you understand and accept everything I've said here today so that tomorrow's stuff will apply to you. Let's recap today's class, which is how to concentrate. And we're talking about this on a strategic level. Definition of concentration is to focus one's attention or mental effort on a particular object or activity. And since we have talked about focus and the power of it so often, today we're talking in a two-part series. Today, high level, tomorrow, tactical level. Number one, understand the value of concentration. It's one of the first things I teach anybody who comes and works with me, knowing that focus is a force multiplier. The longer you can maintain focus on anything, the more you will get out of that thing. I usually ask people, what's your biggest challenge? Usually people mention one or two things, but then you're spending your day doing 10 to 20 things. And this is the reason why you're not able to solve that challenge. This is the reason why people had the same challenge for a long time, because they never actually concentrate on addressing the challenge. And some people say, well, it's not that simple. And I say, maybe you're right, but it is easy. Or maybe it's not easy, but it is simple. That's a better way of saying it. So is it that simple? It may not be that simple, but it is simple. It actually may even be that simple. It's not easy for you to do, but it is simple. The concept is sound. Point number two, many people talk about balance, and they want to have a balanced life doing similar amounts of many different things. As long as you're okay with being okay at a bunch of things, then it's okay to be balanced. If you want to be amazing at anything, you have to be out of balance, because you got to put more of your resources into that thing than you do anything else. This is how you get great at something. And this is the most successful people who you know focus exclusively on a few things that create the outcomes that allow you to see them as a successful individual. So what would you like to achieve in your life that you're willing to give unequal amounts of resources to in order to have an achievement in that area? So if you've never answered this question, then you don't even know what to concentrate on, even if you accept everything that I'm saying here today, because today I'm talking high level. And number three, the opportunity is always in the opposites in life. So look around and notice that everyone around you is in a state of distraction. We have more and more ways to distract ourselves and divide our concentration, focus, and attention than we ever have. And this is why fewer and fewer people are able to get into deep concentration, get into focus, give their attention to one thing, and achieve the outcomes that they want. So the opportunity is waiting for the people who don't have this problem and can actually concentrate and do what they need to do. Opportunity is being a person who can avoid the distractions, ignore all the other options to be distracted, and instead be focused. So now that you understand the underlying strategy behind this, tomorrow we're going to get into some tactical, actionable stuff that you can do to actually start being a person who can concentrate on a higher level. All that said, text me to get my daily motivation free of charge to your phone. My number is 305-384-6894. And go to workonyourgame.net to get access to my free training, how to increase your income in business in 5 easy steps, even if you feel like you're doing everything you can right now in terms of your effort and your output. Work on your game. Dre all day.